Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I, yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, well, okay, we'll talk. Yes. Yes. Goodbye. Totally not the Rothschilds. I'm just kidding. It's the Vanderbilts. Yeah, I know you guys love that one. Oh, you silly Soroses. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. White family who controls massive Sackler family assets in the pharmaceutical. Yeah, I can't stand you people. Hi, hello, and welcome to the Far Side. I'm your host. My name is Austin. Spock things be with you. May I say first things first? I was not feeling it today. I was not feeling the spunk nor the sass necessary to sermonize for you silly sausages. No, no, I was not. And then you put on a cloak, and I must say, cloaks make you feel like how you want to feel. You just boom, cloaking it, boom, cloaked, boom, ready. It's like stepping into the mask. Like you don't feel like if the mask consumes you, and you are this thing that is greater than both you and the mask on the other side. You are the wannabe cult leader. And for those of you who are worried, I have zero interest in actually running a cult. Way too much micromanaging involved. Like, way too much micromanaging involved. I can barely micromanage my own self. I mean, just getting my dogs to and from the vet for the various things is more or less my bandwidth as a single 34-year-old male who spends way too much time on the internet looking up the spiritualist ways in which propaganda is being utilized against us in a real-time morality play charade of sorts. Which brings us to the Candace Owens of it all. Now, that said, Candace Owens, allegedly, for those of you who don't know, if you happen to be seeing one of my videos and you don't know who Candace Owens is, um, I'm magical that I found you. Hi, hello, and welcome. Candace Owens is a very popular YouTuber, investigator, internet reporter type journalist of streaming. It's hard to call folks like her like traditional journalists, but they do something that is quite journalistic with many of their investigations. Now, you can use that term loosely because one of the investigations in which Candace Owens is in the public eye for at the moment is her investigation into Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, and whether or not she is a transsexual, whether or not she's a hermaphrodite of some kind or an intersex individual. My favorite conspiracy theory with all of this is that there is a hermaphroditic order of witches or transgendered witches that is like secret sorceresses next to all these powerful people that are kind of controlling or running the world, and that it is by design that if you want to be one of these powerful world leaders, that you must have this sorceress of gender bendingness next to you. I just love that conspiracy theory. It is so much fun. Valid? I sincerely doubt it because it sounds like schizophrenic fan fiction written by someone who has definitely spent too much time on Harry Potter forums. I digress. So that said, Candace Owens has been, according to a tweet that she released, given credible evidence from someone high up, allegedly, in the French government of some capacity, that she's being targeted allegedly for assassination by the first French couple, and it sounds like a bad dream. It does. It sounds like a bad dream. It sounds like not a nightmare that you have, but like a dream you wake up from, and I suppose you have someone next to you in this, where you go, you wake up and just, your spouse or significant other looks over at you and goes, well, you have an odd face, something wrong? You just go like, nah, I just had a really weird dream. Oh, babe, what was your weird dream about? I mean, it's it's not even worth remembering, but here it is. I I had a dream that Candace Owens is being targeted for a hit by the France's first lady, the first lady of France, the wife of the president of France, because Candace Owens was reporting on her supposed sex change too much. After Candace already lost a lot or won a lawsuit against the French couple regarding this. Your spouse would look at you and go, "Hey, honey, I really think you need to stop eating the spicy curry vindaloo before you go to sleep. I don't know if the spices are getting to you and causing bad things to happen to your brain, or if it's just like you've got like botulism or you're getting some sort of disorder from the unhygienic, delivery driver, whatever. I don't know. Guy could have thrown your food in some dog shit right before you ate it, because that's the only capacity in which this makes sense, this dream that you are telling me, that you are feverish with parasites." No, this is real? Okay, this is real. First off, one must say, distraction tactic, hello. It's almost like going back to my fatal charade thing that is just baffling me. It feels like so much that the mechanisms of propaganda right now in the United States are really trying to put on like reality TV for us. In the same way that reality TV producers mess with the reality show or create certain artificial parameters or situations in which the reality of the contestants or the contestants are supposed to act natural within. And we see their wacky stuff that they do. And, you look at Drewski and some of what he's been doing in terms of this like quasi-reality TV angle that he's got with his Could Have Been House or Could Have Been Love or any of these current like modern contemporary revisions of the Big Brother house or the Making the Band back in the early 2000s, where we wanted to see how real people or wacky people react in these really absurd circumstances that could only be achieved through some sort of contrivance of programming and producers. Well, here we are, but that's reality now. That's what we're dealing with. That's reality now. So now we have to deal with you're like looking at this, and so there's two things. A lot of the internet is divided on whether or not this hit is at all real, because it could very well be fake or some element of fake to whatever for some reason. Because that's the thing. Now, it's like getting to see police brutality up close and personal in 2020 with Derek Chauvin and George Floyd. Real bad. It's real bad. Police brutality is real ugly and gross. And, I think a lot of people were aware that it was ugly and gross. But when you forced the entire country to sit on their phones and watch it, they go, wow, that is really gross. And it's kind of similar with political violence. A lot of people have no experience with political violence until they saw Charlie Kirk get shot. And I think a lot of them are pretty traumatized as a result. I have been watching people die on the internet since I was 10, 11. It's fucked up. I'm not going to say it has done good things for me, but I know a lot of people that are pretty desensitized because we used to go to rotten.com or these other heinous websites back in the day. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I'm not explaining it. Don't even look it up. Truly, I will tell you to do your own research about just about anything. There are certain things like autopsy photos, crime scene photos of just parts of people. You don't need to see it. You really do not need to see it. Don't go see it. I have seen it. I don't think I'm a better human as a result of seeing all that stuff. You just got to be honest with the internet for once in a while. You got to tell people, hey, look, you really do not need to go down this rabbit hole. You don't. Okay. That's been established. So that's it. It's this new rage bait that I have been noticing happening in the conspiracy news, conspiracy theorist type area. This whole look into this salacious thing of the moment. say like the Charlie Kirk assassination or any big major thing involving Israel and its potential ties to Jeffrey Epstein or any of these other abusers and predators or intensely shady financiers and the way they're related to our government apparatus. Um, yeah, we're all just getting to see it all because of social media. And what do you know? It's way uglier and more disgusting and disturbing than any people really want to actively accept, because it just gets to a place where it is so gross. It is so disgusting that it's how the sausage is made. You don't want to know how the sausage is made. You just want to eat sausage, right? Because then when you see how the sausage is made or how hot dogs are made, for example, here in America, I mean, I watched how hot dogs were made when I was like 12 or 13. I have not eaten a single hot dog since. Food should not look like that. It shouldn't. It does. It shouldn't. You want to do your own research on something intensely disgusting that will cause you nausea? If you have not already, Google how a hot dog is made. You will never eat a hot dog again, and you will regret probably every single hot dog that you have ever eaten, period. There you go. You're welcome. So, that said, this internet meme with the conspiracy people, I noticed, popped off much, much more fervently after Charlie Kirk's assassination. And beforehand, there were some people where it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke. Hey, I'm reporting on the Clinton body list. Hey, I'm reporting on the Epstein list. Hey, I'm reporting on, this, that, or the other police brutality. Or I'm reporting on things that BlackRock or State Street or Vanguard or any of these other shady multinational conglomerate private equity companies are operating. And it was the whole like, so-and-so isn't suicidal in the comments. You see that, oh, Candace isn't suicidal. Check it out in the comments. Or so-and-so has no intentions of self-harm in the comments. And, or to them saying something in the beginning of the video in place of maybe a more traditional hook going, hey, I'm breaking this to you. And I just got to say, I love my life. I love being alive. I love doing all these things. Ian Carroll and a few others, they do this quite a bit. And at first it was kind of funny because it's like, yeah, you might be the only person reporting on this. But now, 6 months down the line, that's absolutely not the case. There are thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people basically saying the same thing online. And, is that why my reach is probably pretty stagnant? Yes. I think that might be because maybe your boy's onto something, or maybe because this rambling, monologuing rant intro needs to be worked on, and I am a sucker for doing things the hard way. There's a gay joke in there somewhere. So here's the thing. When with that type of like so-and-so is not, no intention of self-harm, lives their life. Comment, one, sure, yeah, great. It's good to say that you love life and you want to be alive. I love life and want to be alive. Have I had dark thoughts? Of course. Got a depressive issue and a bunch of head injuries. It's been bad up there a couple times. But you know what? You keep smiling, bloody teeth, at angry gods, and going, you know what? I'm not dead today. Maybe I'll die tomorrow. Maybe I'll die 20 years down the line. 50, 100, who knows? I will wait until that day. So, keep on moving, anyone who has had those dark thoughts. Don't let them win. Because when you let those thoughts win, you let every person who has hurt you and made you feel less, made you feel inferior and less than what you are, you let them win. Don't let those sons of bitches and bastards win. Just don't. Do what you got to do. Keep moving. Now back to your regularly non-scheduled program. So with those conspiracy news people, it plays into this paranoid assertion that the knowledge they don't want you to know is about to be conveyed. And that heightens the seductive nature of whatever knowledge, information, clue, bit of reporting that is being put forward. It heightens it by saying, look, I might be killed for telling you this. When in reality, that is not going to happen. That is the ultimate, 4 out of 5 doctors hate this guy because he knows how to burn excess belly fat. It's like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But that assertion in and of itself, it requires you, the audience, to be ignorant enough to believe that. And that's unfortunately where we're at with this. And kind of what I've realized is the internet is a lot of broken toys and people that have all congregated together to talk. Many of us have been quietly yammering our friends and family's ears off, and they're sick of it. So we have to go to the internet to have these conversations, because most people I know don't care very much about propaganda and international espionage and how proxy wars are fought in around the country and by who. Most people just don't care about this stuff. Well, I do. I care a lot. I don't know why I do. I don't. Maybe it's because the indelicacy of it all is an insult to people of middling intelligence everywhere. And I'm starting to believe that maybe I'm not entirely middling in my intelligence. But here we are. Here we are at a real estate office while I yammer into the fucking void. Hi, listeners. So that said, the seductively powerful information that, say, Candace Owens is giving, by associating it with mortal peril, means that you, the audience, and maybe not you specifically, but I would say audiences in general, one, it probably does great things for their viewer retention. Hey, I might be killed for saying and reporting on this. Tune in next week, because you don't know what I'm going to say then, and I might say something even more important and salacious to this, my own mortal peril, or that this information that I'm giving you is so big, so bombastic that I have to get it out of there, and people are starting to notice me and my content. So it makes you, the audience member, part of the rise, part of this like in-group, this cult of information that knows something the average person don't. You're part of the secret. You are in on the game. That is a very important feeling to heighten with people. And it's a mixture of FOMO and inclusivity that, I mean, the left political gamesmanship in America has truly mastered. So now we're seeing it kind of pop up in almost these bubble-like ways that I envision new universes form in the flotsam and jetsam of the universal matter. Woo! Getting into the pre-Big Bang Theory right now, the bubble mode. But that said, that it kind of balloons up from just about nothing in the same way that bubbles form in the sea foam on the shore, where it's just like, up, they kind of pop together, and then eventually you just have a very large bubble. So that's how it is with a lot of this, like, little things when I say, oh, you know, my conspiracy adjacent stuff or this conspiracy adjacent corner, this knowledge is just too big and I have to get it out there. And because otherwise, if I don't, people are starting to notice me and they're trying to shut me down. So one, you create this association for yourself with someone like Charlie Kirk, who was potentially shot for turning down powerful Israeli American political action money. A lot of leaks about that happening recently. However, I have to say the amount of people and the amount of things that have been from almost an institutional level, or this level of what I consider the reality TV stars of American propaganda. The amount of these people who are going, Israel did it with Charlie Kirk, makes me think that Israel did not kill Charlie Kirk. It's too obvious. It's too obvious. It's too obvious. It's this whole thing of why would they make it so? Maybe they just feel blatant. Maybe they feel like everyone else is so stupid that they won't even know, or that they're so capable at manipulating algorithms and AI and social media platforms that they don't care, that it doesn't matter. That's ballsy. I gotta give credit where credit's due. That takes some cojones. Now, that said, people do get shadow banned. People do have problems with the algorithm or interests going to platforms to tell them, hey, you need to put a kibosh on this type of content. I don't want to see it all over my feed. And a particular government maybe, or particular political groups that have a lot of money could go to, say, Meta or Google and just go, Hey, can you really not put this one forward? Can you really just put the damp on this one, please? Oh, one sec. All that said, being at that real estate office, if someone comes to the door, got to take off the powerful feeling cloak because while the folks here know I'm a bit of a goofball, walking out in full regalia, I might challenge their notions of right and wrong to such a degree as to be problematic for me. Come on! Wow! Waka box! So that said, I mean, people do get shadow banned. People do get their bank accounts blocked if they're saying certain things, particularly talking about Israel. It's funny how that one works. And, shadow banning is real. I have experienced it because I said some things about the Nagorno Karabakh Artsakh situation and the treatment that the Armenian people were receiving in that. And I got a bunch of hate from Azerbaijani bots and troll accounts to such a degree that I privated my Instagram because it was a lot. It was a lot. And after that, my Instagram has never had the same level of reach, period. So, I think that has something to do with it. When you get mass reported by who, I think it takes a lot of time to review whether or not it's real people, bots, whatever. It will put a kibosh on your social media accounts, and that, it's a problem in this social media age where so much business is conducted, or if you're trying to do anything in the entertainment sphere, you have to have some sort of social media presence because the numbers that your social media account does directly correlates to sponsorships, directly correlates to increased work opportunities, or if you're an actor or a comedian, gigs, actual auditions. Having the good metrics and the good numbers is very important. And that's one reason why I think Candace Owens is trying to conflate herself with Charlie Kirk and this assassination. And, all that said, it could very well be a real rumor, maybe, of an assassination attempt. Or what I think might be more realistic is the first French couple made some sort of joke about getting rid of Candace Owens. Hypothetically, that plays, Chinese whispers, plays telephone down the line, and it turns into a reasonable and credible threat against Candace Owens' life, allegedly, from the first French couple, allegedly. And Candace hears about this and she goes, well, my numbers are already astronomically high. I can get them higher. We can create that much more of almost a FOMO feeling for anyone who does not tune into my daily uploads and my daily content. And here's part of the fucked up reason why that is. Because I think some people kind of want to see Candace getting kirked, for lack of a better word. At least they don't want to miss it. That her reporting is so cutting edge, is so revealing that it puts her life in jeopardy, and that her microphone might explode into her neck. And that's the assassination theory that personally to me makes the most amount of sense. But again, it almost feels like because if you go back to the JFK assassination and the investigation that the government did into itself and the magic bullet theory that was put forward, the single shooter, even though there was multiple shooters, any shady connections Jack Ruby had before shooting Lee Harvey Oswald, just kind of getting swept under the rug and just sort of ignored because it's like, well, every bar owner in Boston has some sort of affiliate tie with the mob. It's like, nah, I can't remember if he was in Boston or not. But it's like, God, the layers of plausible deniability are very important. And then the cover-up that they do afterwards is also very important to creating a level of credibility most normal people will adhere to, the plausibility of. the findings they put forward. So that said, with Charlie Kirk, I mean, a lot of people were pretty mildly to pretty severely probably traumatized by that video. And on some gut level, they kind like it's created this fervor of this semi-radicalized like Christian Republican Kirk the Martyr cult. When I say cult, I don't mean in the way that we popularized it to mean in the last 50 years of a bunch of people with a set in-group belief and usually some sort of detrimental level to the believers. I'm talking about it more in the Roman way of the word cult, which is like, hey, sometimes it's just small religions just sort of happen. And then it creates this mini culture that kind of has its own rules, its own in groups, but it's still very much part of the larger thing. That's how I feel with this. It's still very much part of republicanism. It's still very much part of America First. But it seems to me like our politics, because we have such a binary two-party politics system, that within that, because it's such wedge issues, such single voter things, that you have to create smaller cults within the religion to actually put forward your own individual agenda or to support your specific wedge issue, your specific talking point. For some people, maybe that's trans identity. For some people, maybe that's Christian values in America. Some people, maybe it's furrydom. And then on the other side of that, there's the burnt furs. I'm sorry, we live in a country where there are Nazi furries. Some jokes write themselves. I'm sorry, some jokes write themselves. But the fact that all these Nazi furries are part of the like Groyper army with Fuentes, how is that not part of the Reddit psyop to make everyone an ineffective idiot? I mean, I think the furry thing goes back to why we used to have masquerades back in the day. Many people, and this is a deeply human thing. This is not abnormal to people who do furries, need some sort of escape from their everyday persona to have fun, to let loose, to do certain things, maybe to explore themselves sexually, explore other people sexually. They need that dissociative element that a mask provides, or the transmutation of their psychology into another form. Masks. So once upon a time that was masquerades, mask balls. You know, they would have entire like carnival in Europe and just everyone wear a mask, go out and do fun things, have fun, have a good time. So when people are like, oh, furries are a modern expression of the American intelligence apparatus trying to make everyone as stupid as possible. It's like, no, that's not true. Go look at some of the masks that people used to wear to Venetian Carnival, for example. And please tell me that furries are a modern invention after that. Please tell me, after seeing all these mouse masks and all these lion masks and wolf masks and fucking rooster masks and chicken masks and dove masks and all the costumes that then also accompanied therein, please Google Venetian Carnival masks. Masquerade masks, please, and then please go into the comments with an honest heart and an honest soul and tell me that furries are a modern invention. All right, moving on. So that said, I think there are a lot of people who understand that Candace Owens has created a theater around her, and that it feels both very fake and very contrived because of the just nature of reality TV, live streaming, all these things, because we've been told that, hey, this is false, this is a production. Meanwhile, this is also Candace's life being live streamed to us, and could things be being pulled behind the scenes? Yes. It could be. I think it is very easy for countries to ask other countries that hold more power or maybe hold the bank for them, that someone goes up to Netanyahu and after Kirk is shot and he says, hey, allegedly, hypothetically, I need you to more than twice, maybe 3 times, publicly go out and say that you had nothing and Israel had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk's death, that he was a beautiful warrior for the Israeli cause and American relations with Israel. And you just say that, and the conspiracies come afterwards. You don't even need to create the conspiracies anymore. You just need to create a rumor, like a drop in a pond, and all the ripples just go out from there. I mean, look at Theo Vaughn had an interview or a podcast with Joseph Rogan, His Highness of Podcasting, our great savior. And he tried to make some jokes about Israel and Kirk and all these things. And very quickly, Rogan steered him back into like sponsor safe lanes to talk about. And I don't know if it's a sponsor issue, because a lot of Rogan's sponsors, he has a hand in somehow. Alpha Brain, Onnit, all these things. He's a part owner in those companies. So when he's saying like, whoa, let's bring it to this, 2 things. One, he's either afraid of his family or his direct life being threatened by shady government, evil, nefarious actors. It's entirely a possibility. Or 2, that he's now part of that group. He's now part of that team that gets to control narrative and is part of the team that puts out the drops in the bucket. We have seen many times in which how this man is very likely compromised to some degree, or he was so easy to dupe that he became compromised over time slowly. He didn't sign on and go, yeah, I'll be compromised for this. He didn't sign on the dotted line. Joseph Rogan is willing to be compromised. No, it just is a thing that happens slowly over time. And, he gets pushed and radicalized because a bunch of people, probably credibly, threatened his life during the COVID thing. And I mean, if you want to talk about doubling down, it's the opposite of the Streisand effect. A person, or it's not the opposite, but it's a Venn diagram. It's different than the Streisand effect, but it's something close. Where someone like Joe Rogan or whatever, I mean, this happens on all sides of things. Someone says something that people on the other side of the political aisle do not like, and they attack that individual relentlessly for their opinion, which might not be that bad, which might have been said with some indelicacy, which might be being taken out of context. And they are being lambasted, scrutinized, skewered so much that it forces them to double down on the politic or the belief or the statement in the direction opposite of the way the mob wants them to act. It's this contrarian reaction to mob mentality that forces a lot of people to double down on their positions in ways that the mob don't like. What do you know? But might be really good for people like, say, Steve Bannon and the 2025 Project to get the #1 podcast platform in, like, the world, I think. Maybe not the world, but certainly the United States. Get them on their side. But Rogan's also, he's an everyman. I'm sure he's very smart and he's very savvy and he's capable in his own ways. But he's also proven himself time and time again to not be that smart. Not to be intelligent enough maybe to recognize when he has already been kind of backed into this corner by a bunch of people who smiled at him and, cattle prodded him behind the back. Oh, hey, it's all good. It's all good. Meanwhile, they're responsible for turning up the algorithmic heat to Joe Rogan's feet. Meta, looking at you, X. Pretty apparent that if I was Elon Musk and I wanted to push Joe Rogan in a certain direction, I would, in the same way that MSNBC or CNN or Fox, OAN, a lot of these networks are playing to elder politicians. They are not for us, the average common citizen person. They are meant to specifically propagandize and tell a specific person specific things. Well, all right, what if you, Elon Musk, just game the fucking X algorithm for a little bit, just in a way that fucks with Rogan? It's going to fuck with a lot of other people. It's going to mess with their brains, and it's going to cause them a lot of consternation and confusion, maybe even self-reflection. But reality, it's going to cause a contrarian move away from the way they perceive the mob wants them to act. Does that make sense? That Elon Musk might just doctor his algorithm for 6 months or a year just to become better friends with Joe Rogan, just to better influence Joe Rogan, just to better propagandize Joe Rogan to Elon Musk's individual aims and what he wants out of the Joe Rogan platform and experience. Allegedly, hypothetically. I love my life. So that said, the other thing is, I kind of think that Israel is taking part in an old scapegoating ritual right now with the Charlie Kirk killing. It's so seemingly obvious to me that all this evidence and all these people are saying Israel did it, Israel did it, Israel did it, that I don't believe Israel did it. In the same way that, like, when the U.S. government changed the acronym from UFO to UAP to discuss aliens and unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena without the baggage of the conspiracy theory labels that they had slandered people with for 50, 60 years. And we're supposed to then believe them at face value when they talk about this stuff after they spent 50 or 60 years discrediting any individual talking about UFOs or UAPs with this stuff. In a way that also, when you look into like Luis Elizondo and some of these people that are these big whistleblowers, some of them seem like useful idiots. Some of them seem like people that are so by the book, by the number, that if you somehow are able to, through a higher technology, doctor an experience for them in the fatal charade sort of way. You project a tic-tac UFO type thing and you in a way that somehow appears on their radar. Maybe you mess with the computer systems. Maybe it's a longer process. And then they come down and they go, hey, look, this happened. And they go, hey, look, these are my readings. Not realizing that they could be being had for a fool by an even higher level of government organization or secret three-letter agency that we don't even know about, that then goes, hey, look, we're just going to do some projection stuff. Project Bluebeam is really just a giant projector. It's not about alien disclosure. It's about confusing people and controlling the pipelines for information, and specifically controlling the pipeline of belief or thought, whether or not there is power higher than the U.S. government. Allegedly, hypothetically. So this thing with Charlie Kirk and with Candace Owens and with Israel, and then also recently with France, is that what if this is just some kind of scapegoating thing? That the U.S. government and some of these shady deep state people went to Netanyahu, went to the Macrons and said, we need this from you. If you want our help, our assistance, our money, you have to do this. That's it. You want these billions of dollars? You have to make 3 videos saying emphatically, you did not kill Charlie Kirk. And then the Jewish people, the ones who understand their history, might go, yes, of course, the scapegoat. So the scapegoat was an ancient Semitic ritual in which usually a goat, and I'm sure this was practiced by a lot of different tribes back in the ancient Levant, not just the Jews, not just the ancient Semitic peoples, but probably maybe even the ancient Canaanites or the ancient Philistines, the oh my God, who came first? It was the Phoenician script. The Phoenicians, maybe. I mean, the Phoenicians we know practiced, and same with the Minoans, foundation sacrifice. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Foundation sacrifice, for those of you who don't know, is the sacrifice usually of a king, powerful leader, or the direct son, blood of said ruler, into a project, temple, city, something like that. That to get the gods on your side, you had to give them a sacrifice worthy of creating a city. All right, second born son, come on over here. You're going under the foundation stone. Let's go, buddy. I mean, old school rituals were gnarly. That was just a thing. It was wild back in the day. So when anyone does anything new and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe it. We've got a bunch of satanic pedophile cannibals running our government." It's like, you know nothing about the history of government. Like, go back. Go back a couple hundred years. Go back 1,000 years. A lot of cannibals. A lot of pedophiles. It's just, yeah, a sad fact that the people who wish to control the most amount of people usually have some reason for wanting that control, and usually it's to allow them to predate upon these people in a way that is more easy, in a way that won't have the mob coming after them because they're protected by maybe some institution like the church, looking at you Catholic priests and any other priests abusing children under the label of institutional religion. Wood chipper. And say here, where we go into this long tradition of scapegoating. Now, scapegoating is the village or tribe would come together and have some sort of ritual casting of the collective sins of the people onto the sacrifice victim. Usually, based on the name, it was a goat. Sometimes it could have been a bird. Sometimes it could have been a camel. It could have been a who knows what, a bovine, pig. There's a lot of things it could have been. But traditionally, it was a goat. Because goats, I mean, if you've been around goats, you know why they might pick one to be like, you're getting sent out to die in the desert. Goats are kind of gnarly. And they got horns and they headbutt stuff. And I imagine there's a lot of shepherds who were like, yeah, I got one. I got one for you. Let's put all the village's sins on this one, cast it off to Azazel, and I never want to deal with this fucking thing again. So, that said, I'm not huge for being a mystic and spiritual person. I am not big into repeating the names of demons or even really deities because I feel like, and this is just my superstitious side, it is not my materialistic atheist hand, but it is it is the woo-woo, the misty woo-woo, mysticalness that I just don't like repeating those names. It feels weird to me. It feels like I'm naming something and giving something power that I don't want to. I don't think I'm alone with that. So that said, little like, look, the aliens the aliens are coming. They've probably been here for a while. They've probably been probing us forever. If you really want to have fun, go down the Silurian hypothesis or panspermia. Panspermia is another interesting one that we were seeded on this planet by asteroids in some capacity. Or, yeah, I don't know, equal rights of probing. Silurian hypothesis basically says due to CO2 spikes, I believe it was CO2 spikes or maybe it was carbon monoxide spikes, in the fossil geographic record, there's only been 2 or 3 times that are very similar to the current spike that we have seen due to human activity. The Silurian hypothesis being, hey, what if at one of those times there was a species of dinosaur that got to our level of technological innovation and capacity? That's kind of cool. Legitimately, it's pretty cool. So what if all these reptilian overlord hypotheses, what if it's just that there are actually reptilian alien overlords that are just reptilian alien overlords? They're not extraterrestrials, they just evolved here first, and we just happen to be the cattle running around the surface of the world who have won. Because here's the thing, if you are going to be something like a dinosaur and you're not a hyper social omnivore, you might be an intensely long-lived carnivore that is capable of doing this stuff technologically over a long period of time. Who knows? There's so many ways in which the imagination can run with this and create a plausible scenario in which reptilian overlords aren't just sadistic, evil people that want to squeeze as much juice out of the human herd, so to speak, as possible without the human herd throwing them in the juicer. Right? That's not crazy. That's not crazy. I mean, and that leads me into this whole thing that Meta hid evidence and halted internal investigations into social media harm. What? Is anyone surprised? Given the amount of money, the amount of control that they have to exercise, it's like people finding out, like, oh, what do you know? Feudalism hurt people's mental health. Yeah, no fucking shit, Sherlock. God damn. Some of these articles are truly written for idiotic people, or, I'm lost. Or maybe I'm not as dumb as I ever thought I was. Maybe there's only like a plastic toothpick in my brain instead of the several chopsticks that other people have. I don't know. All I know is I probably should stop eating takeout pho because of that plastic reason. It's not because it tastes subpar. It's because pho. Yeah, man, homemade pho. Like when you have homemade pho, it changes your view of store-bought pho so much, so much. Shout out my brother's female lady friend and her family's pho. For that reason, I probably shouldn't be ordering takeout pho anymore. But that said, I am lazy and I like my noodles. I like my nudes. My noodly nudes. Alrighty. And now here we are back to a CNBC article that we are going to be skimming through. Meta halted internal research that purportedly showed people who stopped using Facebook became less depressed and anxious, according to a legal filing containing newly unredacted information that was released on Friday. The legal brief is related to a high-profile multi-district litigation from plaintiffs such as school districts, parents, and state attorneys generals against companies like Meta, YouTube, Snap, and TikTok. We strongly disagree with these allegations, which rely on cherry-picked quotes and misinformation opinions in an attempt to present a deliberately misleading picture, Meta spokesperson Andy Stone said in a statement. Really? Cherry-picked information. Look, I'm going to put it this way. It's hard to not cherry pick information when like 2 billion fucking people use your website. It's also kind of like saying, oh, just because there were people who did smoke a pack a day every day for 50 fucking years, lived to be 100, is proof that cigarettes aren't that unhealthy for you. Let's ignore the fibromyalgia and all the other issues that people might be having, like lung cancer, birth defects, all these things. Let's ignore all that because some people live to 100. That's not how science works, you assholes. Meta halted, I'm sure this is going to do great for my numbers. Meta halted internal research that purportedly showed that people who stopped using Facebook became less depressed and anxious, according to a legal filing that was released on Friday. The social media giant was allegedly to have to initiate the study, dubbed Project Mercury. Why are the project names all... Enough with the Greco-Roman god shit. Enough. But also, when I say that, then they start using Lord of the Rings stuff, which is somehow worse to me. It's a greater bastardization of a thing when you're taking Anduriel or Palantir and you're making it an evil fucking corporation which is going to destroy the world, or at least makes me think that they're going to destroy the world, which is kind of part of your own fucking problem. Which, while we're on the topic of that, I am convinced at this point too that Peter Thiel is not the Antichrist. Whoa, you heard it here first, folks. I don't think he's the Antichrist. Well, it remains to be seen. Because, in the Bible, it does, I believe, say, and I'm not a biblical scholar, just a dude who has read a lot about religion, that there will be many antichrists. That it's sort of a movement of an antichrist is an embodiment of everything that is not Christ, and that there will be many of these. So he could be one of them. But what if Peter Thiel is doing all of this to basically tell on Sam Altman, allegedly, hypothetically, that, like, that he's just like, no, this guy over here, he's getting sued by his sister for sexual assault and abuse that's really fucked up. for like a long time. Like she was a very young child, like 11, 12, and he's like 18 and he's sexually abusing her, allegedly, according to the files. And I don't know. I used to work in a world in which I came face to face with a lot of victims of some pretty serious and fucked up abuse. And you know what? I don't believe all people who say they've been abused, but there are definitely overtures, commonalities, themes that you will notice amongst the people telling the truth and the people who are lying. And I don't have time to get into all that, but let's just say I am more inclined to believe Sam Altman's sister than I am Sam Altman. Especially considering the amount of people, say, like whistleblowers or other former founders or people that worked with this fucking slimy piece of shit. Yeah, log it. Let them know. The algorithm already knows that I don't like you people. Great. We'll see if that. Great. Put the kibosh on me. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see it. Let's see how bad the banhammer is. Yeah, that's a Warhammer reference for you. World of Warcraft reference for you, actually. How many of those people close to him have ended up dead? The number is more than zero. The number is higher than the statistical deviation or average for most people, period. But then it's also higher than average for most CEOs of multi-billion conglomerates. Like, that's where it gets starting to get suspicious, is that Peter Thiel, maybe Peter Thiel is so obviously being like, hey guys, this is what an antichrist is, because he knows shit about Sam Altman that makes him go, whoa, that fucking guy is evil. Like, that's the part, again, it's like with everyone saying that, oh, Israel did it, Israel killed Charlie Kirk. It's like, really? Did they? Because it doesn't feel like they did anymore. It feels like you want me to believe that they did. Yeah. It's kind of like Altman with this Antichrist stuff. He might be a heterodoxical Christian. He might be something that many of us would consider more, I'm not Christian, so like non-denominational. It's a weird, strange, esoteric spiritual Christian. Great. Believe what we want. But if he is this, quote, heterodoxical, heretical Christian, he still says he's Christian. He doesn't say he's some duopolist or something like that. What if this is just his own tech oligarch way of being like, Sam Altman's the actual Antichrist? What if Peter Thiel is actually like trying to stop the worst of Sam Altman's impulses? I don't know. This is just a thought experiment. This is just an exercise. And it's just thoughts I've had as I'm reading some of this stuff. And I'm going, the math is not mathing. For those of you on audio, I scratched my head. The math ain't mathing. The numbers are not equaling either sides of the equal sign. It feels to me like there's a variable here that I am not aware of. Yet they are telling me that there is no variable. What are you talking about? 2 plus 2 has always equaled 5. Duh! And then people are wondering why a lot of people get on the internet and go, the Mandela effect, the Mandela effect, the Mandela effect. No. There's no Mandela effect. There really is no Mandela effect. There is just a bunch of psychological mind control operations being conducted on us by our government, and it's frying people's brains and memories. And if you think that the people in charge of social media and all these blue lights and the fucking gadgets and, you know, the open AIs, if you think these are not part of that thing that is this mass mind control of people, particularly the American people, to study it, you deserved your digital prison. And if you don't want to be in that digital prison, hey, me neither. Me neither. But we, as a society, need to come together and at least agree to do this. Three things. Next election cycle, re-elect not a single incumbent. Next re-election cycle after that, not re-elect a single incumbent. And the third one, vote however the fuck you want. I would say don't vote any single incumbent in, but at that point you could start to say the predictability metric a lot of people might realize, oh, they're just not voting in an incumbent. So they'll put their shill, their fucking puppet, in as the non incumbent. So at that point, you got to use your own best discernment. Hopefully, by my plan, so many more people would be deeply invested into American political, at least voting, that it might change something in our politics rather than having a bunch of people who do not understand the internet, people who can barely navigate their email, litigating the internet because they are selling us down the river as digital slaves to these technocrats, to these tech oligarchs. Different faction than the private equity people, different faction than the deep state. Is their Venn diagram? Absolutely. But the tech oligarchs seek to become the next deep state. They want to usurp the petrochemical, agricultural, pharmaceutical, industrial magnates. I forgot one. Military industrial magnates. That was the old deep state. The new deep state is these technocrats that are coming in and trying to muscle their way past the old guard. And we wonder why I have dark circles under my eyes. So that said, we go back to Meta. Quote, the filing contains newly unredacted information pertaining to Meta. The newly released legal brief is related to a high-profile multi-district litigation from a variety of plaintiffs against these companies. The plaintiffs claimed that these businesses were aware that their retrospective platforms caused various mental health-related harms to children and young adults, but failed to take action and instead misled educators and authorities, among several allegations. We strongly disagree with these allegations, which rely on cherry-picked quotes and misinformation attempts in an attempt to present a deliberately misleading picture, Meta spokesman Andy Stone said in a statement. The full record will show that for over a decade, we have listened to parents, researched issues that matter most, and made real changes to protect teens, like introducing teen accounts with built-in protections and providing parents with controls to manage a teen's experience. A Google spokesperson said in a statement that, quote, these lawsuits fundamentally misunderstand how YouTube works and the allegations are simply not true, end quote. Another quote. YouTube as a streaming service where people come to watch everything from live sports to podcasts to their favorite creators, primarily on TV screens, not a social network where people catch up with friends, the Google spokesperson said. We also developed dedicated tools for young people guided by child safety experts to give families control, end quote. Snap and TikTok did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Look, what if, in the same way that our government subsidized aerospace, subsidized agriculture, subsidized petrochemicals, subsidized pharmaceuticals. What if they also subsidized a lot of these tech innovations? And what if a lot of these tech innovations have a twofold metric? They have a metric in which they show the public-facing people, us, and the metric by which the government wants them to abide. I would say many have a third, which is hidden and known only to the people up at the top of these groups, and or people who are loyal to their own specific techno-feudal kingdom. Say the folks that are diehard Meta, diehard Snapchat, TikTok, whatever. Good for you. But like, here's the thing. If you really want to get into it, if these people really cared about children, they'd get rid of the brain rot content. YouTube would do something about all this AI slop that has infiltrated its platform and basically made it like almost impossible to view YouTube as anything other than designed to rot people's brains. And maybe I'm quick to say YouTube. I would say it's all short form video content. And to that point, even Instagram Meta, like they've started elongating content. I can now go watch a video that's a couple minutes long on there. No problem. Pretty seamless. And I'd say there are plenty of creators that I have seen their small form, short form content. And I went, hey, that's interesting. You do some interesting deep dives as a software developer or a security analyst or as a doctor in physical therapy that works with geriatric patients as they break down things that are happening to, our president. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all these people, they're not talking about it. So I got to go to the internet and find some guy who's talking about it. Great. In and amongst all of that is an epic amount of brain rot that is being fucking force fed down our throats by these AI slop things. And so much so that it's like, it's destroying the credibility of these apps. I myself, and I know a fair amount of people in my own life personally, that are moving away from social media because of all the AI slop. We finally moved into dead internet theory territory where really it does feel like, and it's blatant, that 60% of the internet is fake. Completely fake. Today, I was trying to look up, like, hey, how can I get rid of a yeast infection in my dog's gut? I think it's causing an overgrowth, causing him itching and struggling and pain. And, yeah, of course, I'm taking him to the vet. We're going to go see what they say. But I just wanted to see what the internet might say. I waded through 4 pages of blog content that is all the exact fucking same. I guarantee most of it was written by ChatGPT or Sora or something like, well, I guess not Sora, but Grok, like something AI wrote this. But I also wonder, what if there's other AIs that we've not been told about? What other MLMs that have been trained on everything that are just churning all this out in some way to create like this fake internet metric of like, look at how much is happening on this thing. And it's just, it's like a chaos demon in our thing, just accelerating problems, accelerating the end. Accelerationist is an important word to know in this world, in this era, because people like Elon Musk are accelerationists. The way that they allegedly see them gaining control, their aims and interests being enacted upon most readily in this reality, is through the dissolution of every institution and cultural norm that we currently have. And so they are going to go out of their way to accelerate the end of those things so that they can then present themselves as the solution. And yet we trust these people inside of our government. What the fuck? We really are this stupid. Or we're just this gullible. Or we're this stretched and we're this stretched that it's so easy to just input this fake fucking bullshit into our brains in such a way that we don't even question it. That we go, it's such a part of the background experience of our lives that we don't even notice it anymore. And that is how they're going to introduce AI slop to us. They're doing it first through all these short form reels. They are completely and utterly and totally aware in how it causes problems for our brain. Recently, I believe, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't quote it, but there was a study that showed brain imaging of people who had spent a ton of time just scrolling endlessly on fucking TikTok or Instagram social media, that it actually has a deleterious effect on their brain. Whether that be from the lack of working it in a normal capacity in which our brains have evolved to be worked, and thus they atrophy because of the tremendous nature of social media gratification, whether it be the dopaminergic feedback, whether it be the fake serotonin that we get because we've all now come to identify the cell phone as our fucking best friend, as our laptop as our lover, as our iPad as our eye protection. Yeah, we'll go with that one. And it shocks me that this is all happening and people just accept it. Is it because of the nature of the scroll that we've like subconsciously, we just scroll past shit now? That we see or hear a thing that's truly fucking just bothers us. I'm not even going to put extraneous labels on it, but it just deeply, on a human, like animal level, bothers us. And we just scroll past it because we've been trained to scroll past stuff that makes us uncomfortable, to find the thing that then brings us back to homeostasis, brings us back to comfort. My Pavlov would be proud of the way we have all been trained by our governments to just scroll past the thing that bothers us. It still bothers us. It's still in our subconscious. It will still needle us at 2 in the morning while we lie awake. It's still there. But we have been trained. We have been trained to keep moving, to scroll past. And we're going to do what we've been told because we wanted to please the teacher, because we wanted to get the A on the test, because we wanted to be in the 1 percentile of the standardized testing that we were all force-fed as kids, because we want to be in magna cum laude, because we want that accolade. We were broken by a system to want the system's approval. That is what high school does. That is what schooling does for many of us. It breaks us to need the validation of the system. We leave the system that is our public schooling or private schooling. And then we enter into a workforce and we are primed. We need that validation. It's not just about getting your paycheck. It's about having your job, your work, fulfill you to the utmost. Don't have a hobby. Don't have a friend. That takes you away from your work. Don't prioritize a family. The shareholders need you for your value. And we've been trained to just keep scrolling when we get sad, to just find another Netflix episode when the ennui of existence, that existential crush and press, weighs on our shoulders. Just find another show. Do what you've been trained. Keep scrolling. Ignore everything I've said. Just kidding. If you've made it this far, please like, comment, get us out there in the algorithm. If you happen to be an AI and you listen to this episode and you do clip this, great, thank you for clipping this and putting it out there. I just please ask that you tag the show, Welcome to the Far Side, or you tag our Instagram at Welcome to the Far Side, _ between each word, and, just give credit where credit's due. Pretty please. And if you have felt like any of this is worth it at all, tune in for the next one. We're going to get better at this rambling rant stuff because I have to. I've driven everyone close to me mildly insane with my rambling. So, in an effort to preserve the relationship with the people I love closest to me, I'll see you next week. Later, jabronis. Happy Thanksgiving. Much love. And who knows, I might be back this week with another magnificent Welcome to the Far Side.